Greetings, everyone. We are back. Which floor are we on, Dan?
9th floor.
I'm with Dan ModWright. We're going to talk about his new KWA 300 amplifier. Have at it, sir.
Well, this is our latest product. It is a 300-watt stereo power amplifier. It is a BJT-based design, Class A-B, with a heavy Class A bias. This one is BJT. Our other amplifiers are MOSFET. I chose BJT for this product at the power and at the price point, at the level. I think it's got more impact.
What is BJT? I don't know that.
MOSFETs and BJTs are the two we use primarily. MOSFETs tend to have a little warmer sound, a little more tube-like character. All of our amps do have that sweeter mid-range and a bit more of a tube quality just based on the circuits we use. BJTs tends to be a little more resolving, a little more impactful. The KWA 99s, which are smaller monoblocks, are MOSFET, and they have a very different sound. But at this level, with the speakers they're driving and the systems they're going to be in, it makes more sense.
So it's 300 watts per channel.
Correct.
I take it. Mm-hmm. And is all of your amplification here today solid state?
It is solid state. I've done tube amp designs in the past, 300B, various EL34 designs. Over time, I've decided that solid state amps make a lot more sense, just in terms of, quite frankly, for the business, the range of speakers we can drive and what we can do. So there's only so much time in the day, and I chose to scale some of our product offerings back. All of our amps are solid state, all of our preamps are tube, all of our source gear is tube. So our systems are all hybrid in that regard.
But I think of you as traditionally as a tube amp guy. Am I wrong?
Well, we started off doing modifications many, many years ago. And our modifications that became popular, known for, was the tube-based modifications for various digital products. Sony SACD players, later Oppo universal players. And we did do some tube designs. I worked with Jack Eliano at Electric Print. We did a headphone amp, a 300B integrated / headphone amp. We did some EL34, 845 designs. Like I said, I kind of settled back on the solid state after that. But you're probably thinking of me as doing the tube modifications primarily.
Well, as I was mentioning before we started filming, I play records at a jazz bar in Brooklyn called Kissa Kissa, in the Bronx rather, and they have all ModWright gear. Now it's all tube gear, and this stuff runs every day from 2 o'clock to 1 o'clock.
Yep.
Every day, non-stop, and it works. They work their beast, and they're driving hardback speakers. Do you not have a demand? I mean, I think of tube amps as more popular than ever, but
the power is the issue, right? The type of tube amps I enjoy designing were single-ended, zero feedback. 30 watts was, the max for a lot of those designs, and that limits speaker choice a lot. And matching the amp to the speakers is critical. With a high enough power or well-designed solid-state amp, you have a lot more choices of speakers. And so that's primarily why I've chosen to go that way.
But can't you use different power tubes and
you can
get more power out of a tube, but you prefer not to do that?
You do push-pull and KT150s, various tubes, and do different things. I found the sweetest sound was single-ended, no feedback, rather than push-pull. When I listened to tube amps and did some work with them, I always preferred single-ended. And you're really limited on power when it comes to single-ended. And
did you always prefer Class A then?
I did.
Right.
Yeah.
So you felt like you sort of hit your point.
Yeah. It was amazing. When the 300B and even the single-ended EL34, of all things, sounded amazing. But again, 30 watts was kind of the limit, right? And so,
So that's 300 watts per channel, obviously.
Right.
What else does, for a prospective customer, what else would this amp give you besides 300 watts?
Well, obviously the power is there. The nice thing about a big solid-state power amp, it's like a car with a lot of horsepower. Most of the time you're not using a fraction of it. But when you want to, it's there. And for a speaker, it's that instantaneous power demand that you're looking for, right? That one note, that very brief period when it wants as much power as it can get. Most of the time it's drawing 5 or 10 watts, maybe 15 watts. But a high power amp gives you the reserve, and the reserve gives you the musicality and the dynamics you want.
What's the difference between, because I don't know, I should know, between a MOSFET and a BJT transistor?
First of all, bipolar junction transistor. Sorry, brain fart earlier. Internal construction is very different. The MOSFETs, these are lateral MOSFETs, which is like Nelson Pass threshold days, the current production MOSFETs now. One of the biggest differences is with heat. MOSFETs have an inverse relation to heat and bias. You can run them hotter and hotter, and they'll basically clamp down. A BJT, if you run too hot, will go into thermal runaway, and it's not good. BJTs also require current input, whereas a MOSFET is voltage input, much like a tube. So there's a few differences. Sonically, like I said, they have some differences. I choose them for that reason. But if I want a solid-state amp to sound more like tubes, I will use a MOSFET.
And how do you, as somebody who has made tube amps, how do you go about getting the, the aliveness and the naturalness and the sense of reality and purity that a tube gives you in a solid-state amp?
Our input stage is very unique. Most solid-state amps follow a fairly prescribed overall circuit topology. Ours is entirely different.
Tell me about that.
The typical amp has 3 stages, and it is entirely feedback dependent. It cannot operate without feedback. Ours has a single gain stage, a buffered output, 0 global feedback. And so, without the use of feedback, it gives you just a pure sound. You're feeding 180 degrees out of phase back into the input. You're just kind of over manipulating the signal, in my opinion. And that's why I like single-ended tubes with no feedback. It's a very clean, very simple circuit. This is not unlike that. It's obviously it's solid state, but it's a very simple single gain stage of adequate gain, buffered into the power stage, and that's it. The lack of feedback is huge. There's local feedback, but global feedback, there's none. And to my ears, that's always been the difference. Again, push-pull versus single-ended tubes. Push-pull tubes have to have feedback. It doesn't sound good to me. So that's where I think we're able to get much of the same quality. And then in a hybrid system with tubes in the line level, in the preamp and the source, in my opinion, we get the quality of tubes we want and the power of solid state.
Yeah, I see sitting here the, is it a preamp in the middle? I see 4 tubes sticking out. Tell me about that piece.
That's the LS300. That's the mate for the KW300. It's a 6922 base design. The tubes in the tall tubes are the rectifier tubes, fully dual mono. The power supply is outboard, and and everything about it's dual mono. 2 umbilicals, 2 transformers, separate right and left channel circuits all the way through. Transformer coupled in and out, fully balanced. The amplifier is also transformer coupled in. I use transformer coupling rather than a true balanced circuit has, extra circuit. You can get 2 circuits per channel. And the problem with that is if the circuits don't perfectly balanced, then you've got issues. I tend to do most of our circuits single-ended and transformer couple in and out, so the signal coming and going is fully balanced, as you'd want it to be. And the transformers do it, in my opinion, perfectly, without the problems you can have with circuits that are not fully balanced.
Do you feel like, obviously you do, you wouldn't have gone this way, but do you feel like a solid-state amp, your designs, bring the emotion and sense of naturalness that a tube amp brings?
It's a bit different. I think our solid-state designs with our tube preamps do bring that. 300B has a unique sonic signature. There are some tubes you just can't replicate, right? We did an 845 as well, which was beautiful sound. But at 1200 volts, I didn't want to build any more. Wow. It was a little dicey. So yeah, I mean, there are trade-offs. Tubes don't have the power. Solid state doesn't always have all of the intimacy of tubes. But it's also got, better bass and more impact, and it's a trade-off, right?
What's on the drawing board for ModWright?
I'm actually looking at, it's interesting, more of a, I hesitate to say lifestyle product, but I'm going more after the music experience rather than the audiophile experience, because I think that more and more people, if they could hear good music in their home, would get it.
I love that. And tell me, what do you see as the difference between the music experience versus the audiophile experience?
The audiophile is very concerned about the specs and the details and the equipment, and that's fine. We've all been there. The music experience is just about enjoying the music. And people that have not heard it, we tend to kind of shut them out of our world because they don't understand all this stuff. And at the end of the day, it's just good music, right? So I'm working on a MOSFET integrated design, probably two products, a MOSFET integrated and a headphone/integrated amp. And my thought being that the headphone/integrated, 30-watt integrated, high power headphone out is going to appeal to the 30 to 50, 60 plus professional, mostly male, obviously, not necessarily, but the person just wants good music. Small apartment maybe, loft, something like that. Can't always play music loud, so headphones, maybe a pair of bookshelf speakers, and then a full function, probably 100-watt MOSFET integrated as well. Family room, den, just listening room, not necessarily an audio room, but a place where you and the family, the partner can go and just enjoy music. And try to bring that back. Eric,
I think it is coming back. I mean, I just, when you go to shows in Europe, there are families, there are women.
Oh, for sure.
I just follow through women walking down the hallway.
It's a good thing.
They got off where I got off. And I think because of the extension out of the vinyl resurgence, there's a whole crew of really young folks who are into music. And then the whole, I mean, it's a different thing, but the whole Devin Turnbull thing is bringing back listening spaces.
That's very cool.
It's actual listening rooms. So we are seeing sort of a sea change. And people like yourself see that. Some manufacturers are not going to stop selling the bling.
Right.
But it's great to see you moving forward.
I'm 56 years old. I'm going to be at this for a while, and I want to see it continue. And I want to see it, change and grow. Because where we're at with the audiophile focus is a bit narrow. But the Turnbull thing, the music experience, the listening experience, it's huge. I went to an audiophile cafe in Vietnam about 10, 15 years ago. Wild, massive horn speakers, singulated tube, big place. And students, business people, it was just nice music playing. It was the coolest experience. And if I have my way, I'll do something similar myself at some point. Maybe have a, I don't know, coffee shop, workshop, I don't know. But I would like to do something like that in the future.